All right, back with the Garlic Marketing Show. We're going to talk link building again, how to get ranking, how one company got 350% increase in traffic, 1,500 links, and how they started this company. Farzad, thanks for being on the Garlic Marketing Show.
Thank you so much for having me, and this was a pleasure.
And we are going to talk about how they actually started and now get $1.7 million worth of traffic for free every month. How they shifted from to a 20% content creation mode to get that traffic, the discomfort advantage of SEO, how they helped business analytics SaaS increase the SEO 350%, the key to linkable contact, and he'll show exactly how they do an outreach strategy to get on 50 plus podcasts. All that. But before we get started, this is brought to you by videocasestory.com. One of the best pieces of content for your website, for YouTube, is your case stories. We'll learn about 20 other ways to use case stories to land those big fish. Go to videocasestory.com/bigfish. All right, let's get started. Before we get into that, I love how you guys got started because I think this is an important piece. How did you develop this software platform for link building?
Sure. So, yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm very excited. Anyway, so as far as the backstory goes, I actually started my career in marketing working at another SaaS company called Visme. Have you heard of Visme before, Ian?
I have not, but
never heard of Visme. No hard feelings. Have you heard of tools like Canva, maybe, or Prezi, one of these like design? Gotcha. So what Visme was basically created at the very beginning as one of the first tools that helps you create like infographics, presentations, and whatnot. But we're a little more upmarket, like SME enterprise. Canva is more of a B2C platform. But anyway, so when I joined the company, it was it is still to this day, a completely bootstrap startup. Wow. And I was tasked with figuring out how to sell this thing that spent time and resources building. And basically, started looking through different channels, right? So we got paid ads. That's number one. First of all, it's a black hole for cash. So yeah, it's an insatiable, basically channel when it comes to, taking resources. And problem with that was that there's some diminishing ROI where your customer acquisition cost catches up with your LTV pretty quickly, especially if you don't have a very expensive product or if you don't sell like a lifestyle business, right? So for SaaS, especially at our price point, which was like $15 a month, didn't make much sense, plus being a bootstrap company. And cold outreach was on the other hand, right? And for going door to door, start selling, and which again, for a software company, price point, if you're selling 100K plus deals, then yes, absolutely go door to door, start selling. Yeah. If you're selling a $15 a month subscription, it doesn't make sense to hire some US based staff members. So, because the conversion rates on those are super low. So we were like, okay, let's see how people purchase this product, right? Or the service that we sell. And so say, Ian, if you were to create a presentation, or if you were to make an infographic for this episode, what's the first place where you go and look for a product to help you get there?
Google.
So we knew that from day one, right? Yeah. Like, all right, instead of us becoming a household name, which is a very expensive play, we would have to go raise hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's go show up in places where people who are looking for a platform like us would naturally come and find us instead of us having to go chase after every single customer. So we're like, great, let's go build some pages, did some keyword research, wrote some blog posts, put on a website, and guess what happened?
Nothing.
Absolutely crickets. but don't fall off yet. So right now Visme gets close to about 3.5 million in monthly organic visitors every month. Wow. That's worth about $1.7 million in worth of advertising that we're getting for free.
A month.
Free, quote unquote. A month, yes. And we have now over 17 million active users, doubling that year over year. And the rest is history. I mean, there's 100 plus team members, fully profitable, still bootstrap. So we're like, that ended up being a journey that led us to create Respona. So I'm happy to talk a little more about that.
Yeah, before we get into that, how long did it take you to get to that level of traffic?
Years. It was definitely not overnight success. So Visme was founded in 2013. I think I joined back in 2016. 16 or 17. And basically it has been an exponential growth over the course of the past few years, but the first few years was tough. Obviously it took a while to get to this point. So I'd say 5-6 years at least.
When was the first time you saw it working for you all? You're like, the links, was there an article?
Right.
Was there a link that you got? Was it a single page? What was the first thing that you're like, this is working?
Right. So it was more of a gradual process than a light bulb moment. So when we spent all our resources putting up these pages and getting 0 results, made me look bad a little. So I was like, okay, let's just try something. Let's go and, for example, can you do me a favor, Ian? Can you just go and open a new private window in your browser and just Google one of our like keywords, like presentation software, for example?
Yes, 1 second. I forgot when I do this, when I hit in Zoom, it switches cameras when I hit the.
No worries. Let me actually just tell you that. No worries.
No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share it.
Sure.
And let me share my screen. Why can't I? Where's my share button on Zoom? You'd think I'm not on Zoom all day long.
Escapes me. Yes. All right.
What do you want me to search?
Just look up presentation software. So which is one of our top keywords, right? So now when you look up that keyword, see how many search results pops up at the top. You see how it says about, how many zeros is that?
1.04 billion results.
1.04 billion results. And I scroll down a little after the ads. What do you see in the organic results?
There you go, Visme.
That's right. So
boom.
When I took a look at that at the beginning, I was like, this is very discouraging. There's a billion search results here, and we've created pages that are, I would say, in the top 1% of all the pages that were out there at the time, right?
Yeah.
In terms of quality of content, site speed, visuals, user experience and responsiveness, all the stuff you can think of, we've done. And I would say 99th percentile is a pretty good place to be. But when there's a billion search results for your keywords, you're still in the millions. It doesn't matter you're in the top 1%, right? So how would you get yourself up in the search results? And again, this is not just true of like parent keywords like this, right? You want to also get more granular in some of the longer tail variations.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, let's understand how Google works as a search engine. And basically what we found is that the core of Google, and that's how they took over the search engine market back in the late 90s, was based on this algorithm called PageRank that not only looks at the content of your page, but also looks how popular you are, right? So the more relevant, authoritative sources in your space that are talking about you, it kind of sends a signal that vote to popularity, like a Mean Girls popularity contest. And that tells Google that, hey, these guys are legit. So now it gets interesting though, right? Then it's not only about the keywords and stuff on your page. Now it's also how other people are receiving it and whether or not they're talking about it, that makes a difference. So we started shifting our resources accordingly. So we started investing about 20% of our resources on content creation. The other 80% went into promotion, which is the exact opposite ratio that most companies do content marketing. So that's what really started putting us on the map and actually started getting our pages up.
It's such a smart thing. And yeah, because everyone's spending so much time on content creation and not on that promotion. And that's critical. And, you know, it's funny because you talk about that. And was it, the algorithm was originally called back rub, wasn't it? I think that's what it was called.
They're rumors. Official term is PageRank.
Right? Yeah. No, because they shifted it. And because when they were in school, I remember because I read the story behind it. And then, they made them shift it. But what is interesting is just, I think this is important to think about for all of you marketers, that this is one of those evergreen things, because Google's tried hard to find an algorithm that works without backlinks and they've failed. And if Google can't do it, I don't know if anyone's going to really do it. So, you know, I think that's a big thing. I think the closest thing now is what the fastest growing search engine is TikTok. That's a whole different algorithm. So you started doing the content promotion. How much, and you say 80% of your resources. So when we say 80% of resources, how much time are you spending on content promotion?
4x the amount of time we spent on creation. So meaning you spend, doesn't matter whether it's a blog post or a landing page or any sort of page that has any SEO value. We spend 1 hour in creation. We spend 4 hours on promotion. And so it gives us 5 hours.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, I mean, you're spending 4 hours on promotion. And what did you find were the keys to great promotion of the content?
So that process was basically, I mean, a matter of experimentation to figure out what works. A lot of people are looking for the next hack or tactic. And matter of fact is anything that work for us doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Every niche, every industry is different. I see this firsthand every day where like I just had an automotive company and versus like us in the SEO space versus somebody else in the lawn mowing industry, right? So the type of industries and the type of people you deal with when it comes to link building are completely different. And that's why people don't want to do it, right? Because anybody can just open a Google Doc and start writing content and build landing pages, or you slap on your website and bam, you got results immediately, right?
Yeah.
But now you're talking about building relationships and reaching out to other people and convincing them to do something for you, which is a very uncomfortable, I would say, yeah, that's uncomfortable is like the best word I can describe it, thing to do. And that's what's really making it a competitive advantage, just because simply most people don't want to do it. So when you do it, you automatically are put in the very, very few percentages of people that are actively doing it.
It's a great point. Doing, success comes in the things that people aren't willing to do. And so you guys had success, you built Respona, and then you start to help people. I'm going to talk a little bit about, because at the end, I want you to demonstrate using Respona and how someone can build it, because I think that's important. But
sure,
1,500 referring domains in 2 years for a data analytics platform. We've got a case study here with ClickData. Tell me about how ClickData used Respona and to get these 1,500 referring domains, 350% traffic growth.
Sure. So ClickData is a French SaaS company, and they're in the business analytics industry or business intelligence industry, where it's like a very boring, sorry to say this, but it's like a very boring industry, right?
But it's very competitive and very lucrative.
Right, exactly. And so awesome people that came in and we're in the initial stages of building their SEO engine. And basically what happened was, what I recommended them, and they took my advice, were basically start from some of the low-hanging fruit opportunities, not to get too nerdy too fast, where, for example, a few strategies they experimented with is listicles. Like, hey, there's a bunch of blog posts already out there that are talking about business intelligence platforms that are mentioning your competitors, but they are not mentioning you, right? So let's reach out to them and incentivize these guys and say, hey, let me include you in my newsletter, put this article and let me promote it all over the place, maybe run some ads to it, get some traffic to your site, if you were kind to give me a mention here, right? Some other SaaS companies give out free products. It's going to be a mutual collaboration. So start there. Then go on podcasts. Go talk to people like Ian, right? There's a ton of different business intelligence type podcasts that you can go and pitch yourself as a guest, and that hence why I'm here, right? And first, you meet great, smart people like yourself in your industry. 2 is free advertising to a niche audience. And 3, you get those links in your website, because guess what? When Ian's talking about ClickData, you're inevitably having to link to their website from the show notes, right? From on your website and some other platforms that you publish an episode. And there's another link. So it's not rocket science. It's just basically putting your businesses in places where matter.
Yeah. And so how did the content promotion come in and start using Respona?
Yeah. So the content promotion piece came after, right? So some of the groundwork that was done first, and that's always where I recommend people who are new to start, because it's easy, low-hanging fruit opportunities, get them out of the way. And then you hit a point where you're like, okay, I've done that, right? So it's like, there's so many podcasts I can go on. There's so many listicles I can get listed on. And depending on the industry, right? The supply runs out. So then what you want to do is basically get a little more deep into content promotion, where now that you're creating linkable assets, right? So that's a prerequisite that a lot of people miss, is first creating really good educational pieces of content, preferably have some original research done or some sort of interesting things that they've done that, that's not just a repurposed blog post from a bunch of other sources. And then once you have that's something that's listicle, that's linkable, then you go and there's a variety of different strategies that you want to go and build links to that particular page. Now, worst thing you can do is to go and start emailing people, hello, I would like to publish a guest post on your website. Please stop doing that. Please stop. This is giving us such a bad rep, like the whole link building industry. It's just, there's so much malpractice done. And I just wonder why people do it, because it just doesn't work. I see it. I see the metrics. It doesn't work. I'm telling you, stop wasting your time. So normally what we found more success in is kind of like that whole, these things are like basic knowledge in the sales industry. Like, for example, when you see a girl at the bar, you go first talk to her, right? Open up with some small talk, and then you offer to buy her a drink, and then you ask her to go out for dinner, and then you propose, and then you get married, right? So
hopefully not all in one night.
Not on one night. Exactly. That's the whole point, right? Yeah. So for us, the way we open up relationships is by transactional linkages. Because a matter of fact is people don't care about you, right? So when you start a conversation, you're like, hey, let's collaborate together, quick and easy. Here's what's in it for you. Here's what's in it for me. And then get your foot in the door, right? So having a few pillars when it comes to just any sort of outreach tactic. Again, there's a gazillion of them. We actually have a free ungated outreach strategy hub. So if you go to the Respona website, the bottom footer is outreach strategy hub. It's free, ungated.
Oh, nice.
Go take a look at it. We wanted to make it super accessible for people, and basically gives you ready to use instructions to how to find these right websites, what to say to them, etc. And the matter of fact is all of these have three things in common. One, it's a matter of strategy. You need to have a strategy in mind. Don't just look up your keyword and reach out to any website in your space, right? Have and solid strategy, and make sure you're not stepping out of your league, right? Don't reach out to HubSpot if you just started a blog yesterday, right? You're not going to get a response. Reach out from websites within your reach that are similar sizes, because the incentives you offer, and then that's the second pillar, is have to be proportionate. So that's another thing, is, as I mentioned, nobody cares about you. So in order to have that initial conversation, you got to have something of value to offer. For example, I'm here, Ian, talking to you, helping you create a piece of content, right? I'm here spending an hour of my time, and would love to help, and that what I enjoy, and helping you create this podcast episode. So it's a mutually beneficial collaboration we do. Similar things got to be the outreach. Always put yourself in the shoes of the recipient and see what's in it for them. Big note: don't offer cash. Reason why I say that is not just for ethical reasons, right? It's because the type of websites that accept payments for links are not the type of websites you want links from in the first place. Like, some of the incentives we offer end up costing us a lot more. Sometimes we give them like a Respona subscription, and then that costs us a lot more than the $100 they're asking, right? But we do that because, as a qualifying metric, is that if a website is taking payments from you, they're taking payments from everyone. Right. So unless you're an agency, you don't care about the quality of the links, you're just trying to meet quota, then that's fine. But as a rule of thumb, you want to stay away from the sites. We immediately blacklist them in our system. And the last but not least is a matter of personalization, because everybody hates, and personalization, I don't mean just variables, right? Show that you've done your research. Show something that tells the person, hey, this is not a mass outreach email I'm sending out. I actually have done my research. It's this strategy. Connect with them on LinkedIn, have that multi-channel approach. They see a person, put a name next to that email. Stuff that helps you get better reply rates. Gotcha.
And so how long, like, we looked at, we're talking about the case study here for the SaaS company for ClickData. How long did it take them to get those results?
Right.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. When did they start seeing the first results, and from the time they started with you, and how long before they got, 350% increase in traffic?
Right. So what do you mean by getting results? Like getting the first reply, getting the first link?
You tell me.
To be honest with you, I don't know when they got their first reply. I can look up probably in the analytics, but probably the first couple of months is going to be a crapshoot because you don't know what you're doing yet, right? It's still sending some cookie cutter templates. And you also, it's a natural part of link building where you got to experiment to figure out what works best for you in your space. Because stuff that works in the, for example, in the SEO space, because when it comes to our routers, we're very super straightforward because the type of people we're working with already are familiar with what link building is and SEO is. And so the type of conversations we have is entirely different from if you're in the lawnmower industry, right? Yeah. So the first couple of months is going to take for you to understand, okay, hey, we're experimenting with 10 strategies. 8 of them didn't work. 2 of them work. One of that or 2 takes too much time. We found one that really works. Okay, let's stop doing everything else. Just double down on the stuff that works, right? Now, ClickData took, I think, a couple of years to get to the 1,500 plus referring domains, but still phenomenal success if you divvy it up by month, right? So you say, okay, 1,500 links over 24, that's like, tens of links every month. But matter of fact is, it is exponential growth, just like anything else. It's the initial links you get in the first few months are going to be the hardest ones because first, your website is still low quality. This doesn't have much links to it, doesn't have much content on it. Nobody knows who you are, right? You don't have any relationships built. You don't know what you're doing with your link building, right? Yeah. And then over time, now you start opening up a network of partners, people you already have relationships with. You can offer better incentives. You can actually, people know who you are. So getting those links now become 100x easier over time. So for example, I mean, I'm going to pause here really quick, giving you an opportunity to see what direction you want us to go, because I can spend hours talking about it.
No, but I like the exponential link growth piece. It starts working. Let me ask you, who manages this inside your company? Who's the best person to be managing this?
So we always have dedicated staff for this because anytime we try it, like I see a lot of companies are like, they look at link building like a thing to do that they offer like the writer to do on the side. Just never going to work. Yeah. The matter of fact is you need someone who actually knows what they're doing, learn from their mistakes, have some sense of scale without spamming and be on top of it. Just like anything else. Like it's me saying, I want to open an outbound sales strategy and I have my marketer do some outbound on the side. Do you think it's going to work? No, that's stupid. So it's the same thing when it comes to link building. You need someone to do it. Now, what we do normally, we hire junior staff members and train them. So we actually have a partnership with another VA company called Wing. But so they're the one actually doing the work. So you can actually hire and add them to your Respona account and they can take care of it for you. But they're not an agency, right? So you still need someone still in-house who's in charge of monitoring the results, giving them feedback, helping them get up and running. And we think that's something that's going to be helping you kind of scale things a lot quicker. But it's something that we have a link builder. That's their job position. That's a person that does this work. But it doesn't have to be US based. It doesn't have to be a super expensive senior hire. There are other ways you can get around it if you're a small company. So I don't mean to discourage folks from getting into this without having like a dedicated team, right? We're a small team ourselves.
Gotcha. So yeah, how would you suggest, like, say a small company, say a law firm or a digital agency that's doing it for themselves, what would be the best practice for getting started in a link building?
If you're a law firm, don't do it. Just hire an agency to do this for you, right? Because you just don't have the technical set to do that yourself. If you're a SaaS company, it means you already most likely have technical people on house that already know what it is, what they're trying to do, right? Traditional industries, like if you're a lawn mowing company, don't do link building yourself. Just hire an agency that knows their stuff, right? So getting into as far as setting it up, when it comes to like SaaS companies, normally content marketers are the ones overseeing the process, right? So we have, for example, on the Visme side, we have an off-page team and an on-page team. So on-page team is editors, writers, copywriters, SEO managers, right? People that create the content, optimize the content, all that good stuff. And then we have an off-page team that's double the size, or if not more, of people that are charged with link building. And these are people that basically take each page that the on-page team creates and then basically treat it like a project. And then we're like, okay, where can we place this? And then they go and find the right publications, find the right people, and incentivize them to work with it.
Love it. Love it. So I mean, these are amazing results. Can you give me a demo and show me how this works and how I would go doing it? Yeah.
You got it. So what Respona does is quite simple. Like when you first log into the platform, it's a white screen, right? And that's by design. Want to make it very quick and simple to get started and delegate to another staff member. And basically, there's a ton of different outreach tactics you can run with Respona. So I'm going to go ahead and call this campaign Ian. Hopefully, I spell your name correctly.
Yes.
So it's a ton of different outreach tactics and strategies. As I mentioned, we have this little guide here on our website that gives you like recipes of templates to work with, but all of them go through the same 4-step process, right? And that's what we call a campaign. You can do this yourself manually, too. You don't need to have access to Respona. But first, we got to find, okay, where are some of these websites publications that we want to reach out to, right? 2 is to build an email template, say what you want to say to them. And then the 3rd step is to now let Respona go find the right people at each one of these companies, get the contacts for you. The last is to preview and personalize. So any sort of outreach tactic you can think of, you go through the same flow. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, perfect. So for example, like step 1, when it comes to prospecting, there's a bunch of different ways on how you can find the right websites. One, we have like a Google scraper built in. So for example, if I have like, give me a company or let's start with click data, right? Now that we talked about it. They're looking at, for example, best like business intelligence platforms that haven't already mentioned click data on there, right? So I can look up, for example, relevant listicles that in their URL that have the word blog. So you can get as nerdy as you want with it, and then have different variations of the same keyword built out, and then let Respona go. Are you familiar with tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush?
Yep.
Awesome. So we have direct integrations with them, so you can also hook it up to them, and then we go and basically scrape Google results, filter it down by Ahrefs, SEMrush metrics, and you get a list of websites ready to go, right? Or for example, another cool thing I like to do is with our podcast engine. So let me show you on the manual setup so you can see immediate results. Is that you can look up, for example, for click data that looked at like SaaS, entrepreneurship, startups, or look up people in your space, right? So for example, I'm in their space. So you can look up my name and we'll pull up all the episodes that I've been a guest on, right? And I can say, okay, give me some unique podcast here to work with. So your podcast is going to be up here soon. So get ready for all the pitches, Ian. But basically it pulls up all that latest episodes that I've been a guest on. Now what it does, or what we can do, is to reach out, and it automatically tells you 3 things about this podcast. 1, they accept guests. 2, they're relevant to your space. 3, you make sure life easier when it comes to pitching, because I could just say, hey, Benjamin, came across an interview with Farzad, and I love the fact you guys talked about link building, and we actually use it on our platform, and love to hop up and talk about XYZ, right? So basically, step 1 is just finding opportunities. So this step, we're either importing websites, letting Respona scrape things for you, pull it from Ahrefs, right? It doesn't matter where the source is. All we're going to end up with is a bunch of domains. It's a bunch of URLs.
Yep.
Let me pause here really quick. Any questions before I move forward?
No, I mean, this is great. So you have a bunch of podcasts now that I might want to try and get on, correct? Okay, awesome.
So let's see what happens next. So second is just to build an email template. So you normally, you know the whole spiel, right? So say if I found 1,000 podcasts I want to reach out to, it gets tedious to try and email each one manually. So I want to connect my email to Respona, build an email template, sprinkle in some variables in this email template, and automate the follow-ups also. If they didn't reply after a certain number of days, we'll automatically follow up, right? Easy peasy. Now, third is where things get very interesting. And that's basically letting Respona go find the right people for you to get the contacts. And that's normally the most time-consuming part of any sort of outreach tactic, is actually finding who's in charge, right? Now, let's just go through a quick example here. So let's say you come across this blog post on Serious Insight, right? It's a legit website, good company, found a blog post. It's an ideal company in our business intelligence could potentially reach out to. How would you go about finding the right person to contact, Ian?
I'd probably click on that LinkedIn.
Yeah, those are share icons. Yeah, but yeah, you're 100% right. I'll go on LinkedIn, take a look at their company employees, see who's the content manager or someone relevant in the marketing team, get the contact info, right? Normally though, if there's a writer on the page as well, I can check to see if that person, like in this case, Erica Desmond, I can see if she currently works at the company. If she does, then great. We can reach out to her directly, right? Because she obviously has access to the blog. And that's pretty much it. So I would need to go find the right person on LinkedIn, then use some email finding tools like Hunter, Snowbio, some of these tools to get the contact info. What's your favorite email finder tool?
I mean, we use Rocket Reach, I think, and a few others.
Yeah, we have actually an integration with them. So you look them up and log Rocket Reach, get the email. We normally put them on a spreadsheet and run it through a never bounce or zero bounce, make sure that's deliverable. And then export it and you put it into another email outreach software to reach out to, right? So you need a collection of about 5 or 6 different software tools and a person to do it for you. Does that process ring a bell?
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
You don't have to do any of that stuff. So I can just tell Respona, hey, go find a writer, but only if they work there. Otherwise, just go find 1, 2, 3 people at the company who match this position or seniority criteria. Someone with the words like SEO, marketing, content in their job title. And at last resort, if you couldn't find a person, then go find a generic email of that website. Some small websites that don't have like a fancy content manager.
Yeah.
So start from the writer, not find a content manager, not find a generic email. Now, all you got to do is just to press a button, find contacts. You let that baby run on autopilot. You're in Florida. You go grab some mimosas and you go by the beach. And
that's what I do all the time.
That's right. Yes. Just drinking mimosas by the beach. And then after a few minutes, normally it takes minutes for each article. Then Respona basically has all of your URLs enriched with contacts. So for example, remember Erica from Serious Insight?
Yep.
So apparently she does in fact work at the company. Respona went and find the contact and sign it. Or this case is like a Visme article. And let me see who it's written by. Oh, this is interesting. It's actually written by Rana, who is an ex-employee. She doesn't work for us anymore. So Respona went ahead and found our current content manager, man, who got the content info. You can set it so we'll find multiple people as well. But that's it. And then if you didn't like the person, I can always replace that with somebody else at the company. So give you full company employee data that you can replace it with.
Wow.
And that's it. Last step, we almost made it. Respona puts together all the pitches. Everything's ready to go. And you can just go in and click verify and launch. But if you're reaching out to some of the bigger guys, right? For example, if I'm reaching out to Serious Insight, it's likely Erica, our friend here, is getting pitched left and right. So we need to find a way to stand out. So what we also help you to do is giving you full customization ability. So basically I can go and make any adjustments to the value of the variables. Like in this case, the article title is too long, so I can shorten that right on the fly. We give you some snippets from the article. So we go and read the article or the website, whatever that is, give you some snippets from the website that we can sprinkle in. So this is like an article on to improve your sales email templates. So I could say, oh, actually, I love the template you shared on, the yada, yada, yada template. So implying to the person that, hey, I've actually sat on original content, it's not a spammy outreach email I'm sending out. Plus, we get you the social profile. So you send them a connection request on LinkedIn, right? They see a face next to your name and be sure to get an email in their inbox. Helps you basically get much better reply rates. And then once you click verify and launch, we look through your emails, make sure you haven't hit up that person recently or made any embarrassing mistakes like empty variables, hello first name.
Yeah.
And then because we've had people doing that. So we built it so it's impossible to make these mistakes. And then, then you click launch and then you can see all the good old reply rates, delivery rates, all that good stuff, and see how well your campaigns are performing. Got a bunch of other bells and whistles, but that's pretty much the general overview.
Nice. And boom. And then you're on a ton of podcasts.
That's just one of the strategies. So I've been on about 50 podcasts so far this year. This is 51. Yay.
Nice.
And so that's one of the strategies that works really well, and especially if you have an interesting story to share.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. Where's the best place to follow you, Farzad?
Ian, my name is not Ian Garlic, so I'm actually quite easy to find on LinkedIn. My name is Farzad Rashidi. There's only like one of us in the world.
Yeah.
So,
there's only one of me too, or there's two.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you got a unique last name. That's right. Yeah. So definitely look me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with folks.
All right, awesome. We'll put a link to that in the show notes, and definitely we'll put a link to that guide. That's an amazing guide. And if you all are considering SEO, this is a great way to go. We've had other link building agencies on. So, if you don't do it in-house, check out one of the other link building agencies, like Link Pitch. or another SEO agency. But if you're going to do it in-house, this really is a really super powerful software. Farzad, thanks so much for being on the Garlic Marketing Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ian.
And thank you all for taking Farzad and I on your journey. That's been on Garlic and the Garlic Marketing Show.